up, y'all? This is the Man Up Club presents, and today I am your host, Selena Lena, aka Sis from Sis and Lil Bro. I am also the youth and program director of the Man Up Club. Okay, the Man Up Club is a nonprofit organization for young Black males between the ages of 13 and 24. We are located in the Twin Cities, Minnesota. And if you guys want to support the Man Up Club and what we're doing, our mission to transform lives of young, beautiful Black men, go ahead and go to themanupclub.org, okay? So today we are going to talk about leadership. A wonderful, wonderful topic. Ain't that right, gentlemen?
Yes, sure.
Okay, so I have two guests here. One of them is Odis Tuner. Odis, say what's up.
How y'all doing?
He is 25 years old, and guess what, guys? He is a Man Up alumni member, okay? You've been part of the Man Up Club as a member since what year?
I want to say 2018-ish.
2018,
Yep, right after high school.
Right after high school. That's what's up. How did you get plugged into the Man Up Club?
So I have a little sister who was involved in something similar, but for young ladies. And I went to their graduation ceremony. And I was just thinking, like, man, why don't they have anything like this for young men? And so I went on a search with my mom, and she helped me connect with Mr. Dean, and it just went from there.
That's what's up. And look, we 2024. You done came back
For sure.
to and now the Man Up Club has a brand new clubhouse. When you were with the Man Up Club, we did not have a physical clubhouse.
Not in a traditional sense.
Not in a traditional sense. So it's crazy to come back to our own clubhouse where we have a culinary arts program, a fitness program, our construction program, youth build, and so many other things. So that's wonderful that you were able to come back just a couple days ago and say hey to the crew. Okay, now we can't forget about my second guest, okay? This is Jesse Hoilien. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
Okay, and he's 18 years old. He attends Northwestern University. And just tell a little bit about yourself, Jesse.
Yeah, I was born in Ethiopia, moved to the USA, and been living in Minneapolis kind of ever since I was young. It's kind of a little bit about myself.
Okay. So there's a reason, obviously, why I brought you guys here. I mean, honestly, I see you both as leaders, okay? But before we dive deep into this, we have to kick it off in the most traditional sense, and let's just start with a couple of quotes, because that's what I love. We live for quotes. So let's see what you guys think about these, and also let me know if you've heard about these quotes before.
Okay.
So Frederick Douglass, he said, if there is no struggle, there is no progress. Do you agree with that?
No struggle. If there's no struggle, there is no progress. I mean, that's logical. That's very logical. If there's no, it's almost like if there's nothing to fight for, why are you fighting? So if there's no struggle, there's no end goal to put in work for, there's no progress. There's nowhere to go. So that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
How you feel about that, Jesse?
I think like if there's no, like you said, if there's no struggle, there's no progress. I think also if there's no struggle, there's also no regression too. I think it's a push and pull on both sides, right? Like you have to fight for something in order for it to happen. But on the flip side, when you fight for something else might happen that pushes something down farther the opposite way. But I think, that's a quote that's pretty logical. Like you said, like that's what life is, a struggle to progress, a struggle to be a better version of yourself, be a better, just more evolved.
And not only can you take this quote in a in a outer sense, that's what I'm saying is like external, right? But what I'm saying is you can also think about this quote in a personal sense.
Yeah.
If there's no struggle, if you're not facing any struggle, then there's no progress.
Yeah.
So both of you guys, and we'll dive into how you guys are leaders specifically, but as the leaders that you guys are in the community, would you say that without the struggles that you've gone through, do you think that you would be a leader today?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. Not the best leader.
Yeah.
I mean, there's leaders. Everyone's a leader in their own right, but are you a good leader, or are you just someone who people can get behind because of the simple fact that they're too cowardly to do so?
Yikes.
Well, let's not say cowardly. I
No,
mean,
that's real,
that's pretty
bro.
extreme, but they just don't want to take the accountability of being a leader of their own life. So it's easier to get behind somebody else.
So it's good to hear. It's good to hear that you guys agree with Mr. Frederick Douglass. Okay,
Yeah.
here's another one. This particular quote is one of my favorite quotes. Of course, Michael Jordan famously said, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career." And then he went on to say, "I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." I just love that quote because, yeah, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know it's cheesy, guys, but it's actual truth. You know? Yeah. So, those are just some things to get us thinking. But there's another famous saying. And I hear it all the time when it comes to leadership, but people say you can't pour out of an empty cup.
Facts.
But do you believe that your cup always has to have something in it to fill the cups of other people?
Yeah, I think to some degree, yes. I think you just realistically, like, you can't drive a car on an empty tank. You just can't. And if you're not able to have enough for yourself, then you can't help others. It's kind of like we were just joking about the airlines earlier, but like kind of like the idea of airlines, right? You can't put on somebody else's mask before your mask is not put on. And so I think, like, in that respect, I think if you're serving out of your own capacity, your own knowledge, without either A, collaborating with others, or B, like learning from other people, you're just not gonna be as full and as multifaceted in your leadership. And I think, like, other people in the context of community, in the context of church, and in the context of just like time with the Lord, I think, like, that's really, really crucial to your leadership. And serving out of an empty cup is recipe for disaster, recipe for leaders to mess up in a way that's detrimental to others. Like, let me put it this way. I think, like, leaders who serve out of an empty cup tend to have an empty type of leadership. Like, there's just no substance. There's no substance or like depth to the leadership.
So here's the thing, and Otis, you over here, saying
Yeah.
like you co-sign it,
It's interesting, yeah.
So here's the thing, y'all. So you're saying that you can't serve out of an empty cup, right? But here's the thing. So let's just say that you're a leader, right? You could be a big brother, that's a leader. You could be a youth worker, that's a leader. You could be a teacher, that's a leader. You could be a manager, that's a leader. You could be a single father, that's a leader, right? But life happens. Life happens. And let's just say that, you're going through something crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you lose somebody that you love and you're down bad. Or, you lose your job. They deny you because you have a disability and you're considered to be a liability. So that's why they don't hire you. You're struggling to pay bills, or stuff is just going crazy. People around you, it's just all bad, right? So you're you're empty. You know what I'm saying? You can't, it's so difficult to pour into people or to lead people because you're just down bad and you're the one that needs help. So in that situation, does that mean that you're no longer a leader at that time? So that means that you always have to have something in your cup to pour out?
I think that's what makes what makes a leader too, is the ability to be like a human. So usually, and that's what I was kind of saying, like, okay, well, in my mind, I was like, okay, what's the difference between a leader and an idol? You know what I mean? Because an idol doesn't have the ability to fail. They're held to a certain standard to where if they do something wrong, they're just canceled. They don't have the ability to be empty. And so a leader is, similar, but they have the ability to fail. They have grace as a leader.
Yeah.
From the people that are either following them, because there's people who do things that are contrary to a lot of people's ideologies, but they still are willing to follow them, because they understand that they're a human. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So I think going back to your question as far as being empty, I don't think anyone's completely empty,
Yeah.
or I don't think any leader is completely empty, but who is pouring into them and where
Yeah.
are they getting their source of strength or source of ideas or things of that nature from, as to why they can still lead. Like,
Okay.
where is that going?
Yeah. And I would also say like a huge proponent, especially in my life, where in terms of when I've been leading and I've felt empty or felt like drained in a lot of sense, is like you said, like where am I getting my energy from? But also the ability to rest and recuperate as a leader
Mhm.
is so essential. When you feel that empty light go on, like it's okay to have the humility to say, all right, y'all, I need a rest. I need a
Mhm.
break. And in society that doesn't tend to happen a lot, but we also tend to those who ask for a break, we tend to like discourage them. Like, why are you doing this, dog? Like we kind of hold them up to an idolized standard
Mhm.
in which people are like, yo, I need a break. I need rest. And I think it's a human thing to need rest, right? They say like you age when you don't sleep. Like you just get tired, right? You like you're uh counting down your days when you don't sleep. And I think like, yeah, rest is important as a leader, because once you hit the empty light, you need to like take time to rest.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like that. We're talking about leadership. I like what you said, Otis, when you were saying that, you know, it you don't think that anyone is empty. You don't think that anyone is empty. Everyone has something that they can give, or some wisdom they can
Mhm.
provide. Maybe that's how I interpreted that. Like, even though you're going through the hardest struggle, like, you still have something in you that people can take for themselves
Mhm.
on a positive note. So we're definitely gonna get into it, and in our next segment we're gonna get into your personal stories as leaders. Okay, this is Holy Culture Radio with the Man Up Club presents. All right, guys, we are back with Otis and Jesse. We're talking about leadership. Let's dive a little bit deeper into your personal leadership stories. You're saying all these things about leadership, but the people got to know, like,
Hmm.
what is it that y'all doing, or how y'all gonna be talking about this? But who is you though? Okay.
Right.
So, okay. Jesse, let's start with you first. How do you know that you're a leader?
Oh, that's a great question. I think in the sense that like I make decisions that carry weight in a lot of things. I also just tend to have that type of role where it's like people go to me for advice, or what I say carries some weight. And I say that cautiously because I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of weird.
Give an example. So you say people be going to you for advice. Is that your friends? Is that family? Is
Family,
that pretty
yeah.
much everybody?
Yeah,
Or
it's a lot of people. I think friends, family, yeah, friends and family mostly. I guess those are like the two categories of life. Acquaintances.
what's some stuff that people be asking you?
Should I get a divorce or not?
That's
What?
crazy.
I'm still so serious.
What?
Yeah,
I mean, that is a lead. I mean,
it's a
yeah.
weighty
I
topic.
was
Yeah.
not ready for that.
Yeah,
What? I was not ready for that. That's actually crazy. How
That
old are
would
you?
take a leader.
You 18, ain't you?
yeah.
How is somebody gonna ask an 18-year-old, should I get a divorce or not?
I mean, I'm yeah. That's great.
Okay.
But no, like things from that big of a nature to like, yo, should I like, or how do you view this topic? What would you do in this situation?
Mm-hmm.
I'm being very general now because just basically said something very specific. But
Okay.
yeah, I think like just anything from big to small. I think like as a leader, like the range of like domain in sense of like how your influence on others
Mhm.
should range from big to small.
Mm.
I think if you're a leader and it's just specifically like just big decisions, I feel like that's really hard for people to personify you or see you as a human.
Hmm. Let me say this. You know what I love about Jesse's answer? I love that he didn't even say a title. You realize that? He didn't say a title. He just talked about the influence that he has on other people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, light bulb. Otis, before you answer this, that's not I'm not discouraging you from saying a title. You could say, like, this is a space for you to be proud, okay?
Okay.
Proud, okay? Like, brag on yourself a little bit. So, yeah, how do you know that you're a leader?
I can agree with Jesse. Just like when people put you there is when you become a leader. Oftentimes a leader doesn't want to be a leader.
Talk.
And people don't make the best decisions, or they don't trust themselves with the decisions that they have already made. And so they want a third party to come and help them make a decision, or they want someone's opinion.
Yeah.
And they typically want someone who is humble or who doesn't make a lot of hasty, instant decisions. They want someone who can think and process the whole picture, and that typically is me.
Okay.
That's fire. That's a fire ending.
Yeah, I got you. Otis, would you say that you're a unbiased
I try to be
person?
I try to be.
Yeah, obviously everyone has biases, but like, would you say that, people, when they bring things to you, you're the person that can look at something and it's not weighted on one side just because you're their friend or whatever, but it's like,
Yeah, usually when people come to me, I ask them a question with their question. So, for example, they'd be like, hey, Otis, what do you think about XYZ? And I'd be like, do you want me to be honest with you, or do you want me to listen to you? And depending on their answer is when I will be a leader. So if they want me to listen to them, I will be a friend. And if they want me to be a leader, or if they want an honest opinion, I will be unbiased as I possibly can and give them a range of ideas or a range of perspectives so that they can make a general, personalized decision.
Come on, Otis. Okay, because this is the thing. I love that answer because leaders, I believe that great leaders, they know how to assess a situation and adapt to that situation. They know how to assess a issue, assess a state of mind that somebody's in and respond accordingly, right? Okay, so let me be specific, y'all. So like, for example, let's just say me and Otis are friends, okay? Let's just say we're besties. And I'm going through a horrible breakup with my man. And, I'm in a very emotional state, but the guy that broke my heart, he was, emotionally abusive to me.
Oh, wow.
But even though he was emotionally abusive to me, I am still so hurt because we really did love each other, and there was more than that. So it's like, if I go to Otis, I'm like, Otis, like, I don't know if I should forget, like, he broke up with me and stuff, but now and then he texts me back, he want me to get together with him, like, I don't know what I should do. It's like, from the answer you gave me, I'm thinking like, okay, maybe you would talk to me from two different perspectives. Like, okay, do you want me to tell you the truth about your situation?
The reality.
And what you need to do? Or...
And I wouldn't even say need. I would say should.
Yeah.
Or what you could do. Because as a leader, you don't want to tell people what they're going to do.
That's good, bro.
You want to give them an option so that they feel like it was their decision. That's a little mind thing for you. But, to go back to your possible solution, it'll be like, well, what you could do is X, Y, Z. And then they'll be like, okay, well, what do you really want to do? What is your heart telling you to do? And what is the logical aspect of that?
So you like to make people think.
You have to make people think.
That's good, bro.
Because if you don't make them think, you have to think. And as the leader, I'm not here to think for you. I'm here to propose an option for you to make your decision. Because I'm not here to make you. I'm not here to live your life for you.
Okay. So here's the thing, though. I'm going to play, like, quote unquote, the devil's advocate. Because I like your answer. Like, I make people think, and I believe that good leaders do that. But there's also another side to leadership, which is, okay, a lot of people think, being a leader is being able to make decisions for other people.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? telling people what to do, showing people the right way, and encouraging them to go that way. You know, because a lot of times there's people who are not in the right mind to make a good decision. You know what I'm saying? There's a ton of situations where that is true.
That's legit.
So how do you, is it a balance for you?
It has to be a balance, for everything. I work with kids, so there always has to be a level of dominance, I guess you could say, or
Authority.
Authority is a better word, that you have to assert for people to respect your leadership.
Right.
But like I said, when you tell people what to do, they're typically going to do the opposite. So if I tell you what to do, especially when it's a heart emotion, like I really feel this in my heart of hearts, this is what I want to do. Like if I tell you that's not logical, that's not the best thing to do in this situation, they're going to be like, you know what? I hear you, but and we don't need any buts. We need an answer. So I'm not going to tell you what to do because I've dealt with enough people to realize that majority of people will say, I hear you, but so I just give you an option, and what you do with that is up to you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I've done my job as the leader to propose a solution, and if you take my solution, you know where to come back for another one.
Jesse, fill in this sentence. I'm proud of myself for. Because I think it is so important for you for leaders to build themselves up. Okay.
Sure.
Like it could be anything. Just thinking about your life, whatever.
Yeah, I guess I've never asked myself that question.
That's a good thing. I'm proud of myself for. And you can even just say it back too. You ain't gotta fill it in. You can say it back.
Yeah, I guess I'm proud of myself for
Not I guess I'm proud of myself for.
I don't. All right.
I'm proud of myself for an affirmative.
I'm proud of myself for loving well.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and I guess I'll fill that in a little bit, but I think like what Odis was saying, like part of love is knowing when to like kind of let go and take off your hands off a situation and be objective. I think there's also a part of being a leader that is important in the fact that like you have to meet someone where they're at, right? A lot of times like to push back slightly on what Odis was saying, like and agreeing, but like I think part of a leader is also knowing when to meet someone where they're at, and that may not be giving them a situation saying it's up to you to decide, though it could be. I think also sometimes it's walking with them through their decision.
I like that.
That's a good one.
Because I think, or walking them through a decision that you were like, yeah, I think this would be the best idea for you. Like, for instance, like, this is a very simple example, but, like, there's kids that I teach, right, who, this summer who were like, yo, I have a situation where I think, like, I could do this, and I want to do this, but you say this would probably be detrimental to you, so how do I walk in the way that's not detrimental? You know what I mean? And I think, like, especially for me, I'm a Christian, so I believe that, like, with Christian leadership, it's so much weightier in the sense of, like, walking with someone through a decision. I think I see a lot of leaders who just walk with people or who just give someone a solution and just zip out as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
And I think that is a form of leadership, kind of like leaving it up to them. But a lot of times people aren't emotionally ready for that.
Right.
It's like kind of like the difference between college and high school, right? Teachers are holding your hand in high school and elementary school, like, hey, are you get that assignment done? Hey, lock in, right? And it's like, nah, I think we need people to actually sometimes meet people where they're at in that sense.
That's like good. That. Yeah, I like that, Jesse. Otis, were you finna say something?
No.
Okay. So
I like
that too. What we're gonna dive deep into is leadership and spirituality. That was a great thing that you brought up, Jesse, because you said you're a Christian. Otis, are you a Christian?
I am.
Okay, so we can speak on that perspective then. So we'll go ahead and dive into leadership and spirituality. If you guys are Christians out there, even if you're not, we can take a look into leadership and spirituality. All right, guys, we are back with the Man Up Club Presents. We're talking to Jesse and Otis about leadership, and we were just getting into leadership and spirituality because Jesse had brought that up. So, Jesse, what are your thoughts about that last question I asked you when I asked you to fill in the sentence, I'm proud of myself for, and then you said loving myself? I think that's what you said, right?
No, I said like loving well.
Okay, loving well.
But yeah, I don't know. I think like my gut instinct is kind of like, I don't like the word proud because I think like especially within the Christian context and the church context, like we talk about proud as like something that's like something to kind of a disease. Like you don't want that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I think like
Mm.
good leaders are able to recognize places where they find they're proud. They
He
find,
can't even say it, y'all.
'cause it's hard, bro.
As a Christian, he can't even say it. That's crazy.
I think like because it's really such a slippery slope, and I think because it's a slippery slope, people just cut it off.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that maybe people, like majority of people, I think a lot of people cut it off prematurely, right? Like cut off the idea of, yeah, so this is seeping into arrogance and pride, and that's negative, and we don't want that. We can't possibly have that in our churches where leaders are proud of themselves. And I think there's a difference between being proud of yourself for yourself's sake, but being proud of yourself because you've seen how far you came
Mm-hmm.
and who's brought you. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Otis, what you thinking about, this idea of being proud as a leader? I mean, when you talk about leadership, you're talking about people following somebody or following an idea or following a way of life,
Mm-hmm.
especially in this social media age. Like, there's so many people we're all following each other, okay?
Yeah.
Like, literally, we're following each other on social media, but also what we're watching on social media, it influences us. Like, so what are you thinking about this whole idea of how proud of yourself you should be, or what you should recognize being proud of?
Well, living in the Kanye West era of social
Jeez.
media, everyone is like, they want to be them. They want to be it. They want to be
Her. They want to be him.
her or
I'm him.
him.
I'm her.
with a capital H.
Yup.
And I mean, there's a level of healthy confidence, and then there's arrogance. And the difference is being able to recognize that you've gone too far,
Yeah.
or you're overstepping, or you're not allowing someone else the ability to make a choice, or it's a thin line between arrogance and confidence. And you can kind of tell which is which by just people's actions. And just going back to the church aspect of it, pride is the devil. Like that J. Cole song. But it's like, well, I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
What does that mean? If you say, I'm proud of you, because not a lot of people hear that, or not a lot of people hear that.
Right.
So when they do hear it, especially as Christians, it's like, why are you? What are you saying?
Yeah.
Well, if you substitute the word proud for confident, it would be like, I'm confident in your abilities. So it's almost it's one of those words you have to not be careful with, but just understand what you're saying and why you're saying it.
Do you think that the word proud is bad or negative?
No.
Okay.
It's just too much of anything is not good for you.
That's right.
So if
I
you
agree
have
with that.
too much pride, you're arrogant. If you have nothing at all, you have low self-esteem.
That's right.
And I think that's a form of pride too. I think low self, like
It is.
in the sense of like when we look at ourselves, I think pride essentially in a stripped down definition is, and arrogance is looking at yourself, just plain out simple. So when you're arrogant, you're looking at yourself too much as a puffed up sense. But then also pride can be, yo, no one loves me, dog. And like you look around, you have a supporting group of people,
Right.
and you're just constantly looking inward to yourself to find something. So like I agree with you 100% in that way.
Wow, that's very interesting. I never really thought about a low self-esteem as a form of pride.
Yeah, because like going back to the Christian, ideology, like, do you know who's in you?
Yikes.
Like if we're talking biblically, greater is he who is in me than he who is in the world.
Walk in
So
confidence.
walk in knowing that, walk in that belief.
Yeah.
And you will have something, going back to well, I don't have enough to be a leader, or I don't have enough to pour into somebody else. I mean, that your influence is not for you.
Yeah.
It's for someone else who's similar or going through a similar situation that you have possibly overcame already, and you need to pass it on.
Yeah.
I love this because, you know, I also, as a Christian myself, I've also had the problem with a lot of Christians being deathly afraid of accepting compliments. You know, and
Man.
if you're a leader, it's just like,
It's gonna
okay,
happen.
you gotta you gotta be, like you said, like you gotta be proud of yourself. You gotta know who you are. You gotta
Yeah.
know whose you are. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Right.
affirming yourself. Like, okay, I am the king's daughter.
Yeah.
You know, for you guys, I am the king's sons. You know, like I am the head and not the tail. You know, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And, you know, God made us with these hands, with this mouth.
Made
You
in his
know,
image.
we're made in his image, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like we need to be proud of that.
Yeah. I like to ask a question. I know it's probably not like traditionally how we do this, but I like to
go
ask.
ahead. Go ahead.
I think like because I know we talked about this a lot, kind of in previous calls, but like, what does it look like for a leader to serve? Like, in the sense of like sometimes there's a lot of leaders who will be like, "Yo, I've been puffed up to this position, so I'm not gonna serve because I don't want it to look like I'm actually like below, like serving is beneath me." And I've heard this quote quite a bit coming up, like if leadership is above you, or if serving is below you, then leadership is above you.
Say that again. If leadership,
If serving is below you, then leadership is above you. What do you guys think about that quote?
If serving is below you, meaning
Like you
you
like,
won't do it, it's not for you.
yeah, then
Then
leadership is
leadership
above you.
like you can't obtain it. You can't be a leader.
Yeah, in a
Mhm.
sense.
Yeah.
Or it's like if you're not willing to serve, then why do you think leadership is possibly in your purview?
Yeah.
Right. I agree with that.
That's why like I was saying, like leadership or your gifts, your talents, they're not for you.
Hmm.
So as a leader, your job is to serve those you're leading,
Yeah.
you know? So if you're not willing to help those, like what's the point of being a leader? You might as well just follow.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the
And
thing.
there's nothing wrong with following.
Oh,
Let's talk about
absolutely
that.
not.
Let's talk about that because there's many leaders or people aspiring to be leaders who think leading is just about leading.
No.
No, leading is not about leading, dog. Leading is about following the one who is the leader
Right.
and just ushering people into his presence. My worship, I play at my church, and one of the things my pastor constantly says, shout out Yoni, is leading in worship is not putting yourself on stage and saying, "Look at me," and then look at God. Leading in worship is ushering people to the presence of God, right? It's better to be outside the door of heaven and the throne room of God, ushering people to his presence and just being anywhere else. You know what I mean? And so it's like, are we content with just being the guy who's the usher?
Right.
Like, and that's something that I had to ask myself in my own leadership journey, my own spiritual journey, is like, am I content just being that guy? Just being the usher? Or like, and it's a heart check. It's a heart check. Like,
Right.
am I content just sitting there and just being like, hey guys, come to the presence of God. Here it is.
Yeah, I think this whole conversation, this whole segment is about a heart check because, you know, we're exploring, when it comes to leadership and spirituality, we're exploring the thin line between cockiness and confidence, you know, arrogance and humbleness, you know, being humble. So, like you said, it is a heart thing. I think that you have to know who you are in order to, you know, represent yourself. Like if I'm somebody, I know that you know, I'm a selfless person and I show it through my actions, and people's feedback to me is you know, it's good as far as like they don't think that I'm overshadowing them or you know, then I can say, yeah, hey, I have pride in the way that I carry myself, you know, in the position that I have.
Yeah.
But also leaders have weaknesses.
Right.
Yeah.
So and let's get into that too. And also I know you guys want to get into leadership and following. We talk about leadership, be a leader, be a leader. Everybody say be a leader. They want to be a leader. But y'all, would you agree that leaders are also followers?
Every great leader was once a follower.
That's right.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah. if they're not following somebody, if it, like we said, going back to the cup, right? If we're not getting poured into by other people, then what are we like? That's the definition of following somebody, right? My mentors are not just my mentors just to compliment me and hype me up.
Mm-hmm.
They're to pour into me, and I follow them in that sense, right?
And as you have your mentors, you're pouring into other people.
Exactly.
So you can be simultaneously and I don't know if I said that right. Did I
Yeah.
say that?
Yeah,
Yes, a leader and a follower.
Yeah.
Newsflash.
Okay. Like being a follower is not a bad thing, y'all, because and Mr. Dean, he said it at the Man Up Club during a mandatory Man Up session. He was talking and he said that, being a follower, if you're following the right thing,
Mm-hmm.
that's great.
And thumbs up.
Right.
You're following the right thing, so be a follower.
Yeah. It just to make it in more not urban, but to more to make it in more present speech. What does your algorithm look like? That'll tell me who you are.
Yeah.
So if your algorithm is like, or what does your followers look like? Are you only following one person and that person is garbage? Or are you following a multitude of people and you're getting multiple perspectives? And then when you put out something, it's fresh.
Yeah.
It's the same idea.
Yeah.
That's why you have a following.
I love that question, Otis. Like, everybody who's listening right now, take a look at your social media. Open up your Instagram. Open up your Facebook. Open up Twitter.
MySpace.
Okay, no.
Whoa. No.
We're not going back that far. Okay. No, I'm just playing. But
That's crazy. That's carbon dating, bro.
I'm just kidding. But no, like, I do like that question because, and speaking of being proud, that's one thing that I actually am proud of. Is if you go on my Instagram, like I got 2 Instagrams. I got a personal Instagram, like personal blog, and then I have my artist Instagram. And I have my Sis and Lil Bro Instagram. But on my personal page, when you look at my algorithm, my feed, it's like motivational quotes.
Mm-hmm.
It's of course friends and family. People that I used to know from school and stuff like that. But there's some people that I will get rid of because all they post is just, them twerking every night or whatever. Like, and I'm not saying that to be judgmental. I'm just saying that if that's your whole lifestyle,
That's
though,
real.
if that's your whole lifestyle, come on now.
Let's grow up.
And
Yeah. So we gonna dive into it, y'all. We gonna dive into it. All right, we're back with Odis and Jesse. Been talking about leadership, delving into leadership and spirituality. We just left off talking about your life in a sense of an algorithm.
Mm-hmm.
What you follow is kind of like what you're gonna end up becoming. So one thing that we haven't touched on, that we need to touch on when talking about leadership, is struggles, because not everybody's perfect. Okay, I'm not perfect. Otis, you ain't perfect
At all.
and Jesse, you
Absolutely
ain't perfect
not.
either. Okay, so as a leader, I want y'all to take a moment to think about a time where you have failed. Okay, you have failed. You could be an older brother, and people who are listening, you could be an older sibling, but you failed. As maybe you led your siblings down some path, or maybe it wasn't even that deep, but it's more so like you got them in trouble because of what you did.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're dealing with the guilt of it. Anything, because we real people out here, it's like we have to know how leaders struggle, how they failed in order to bounce back. Because that's the real leadership, is how do you bounce back from a situation? How do you respond from a situation? So, and also our struggles teach us things. So, Jesse, I'll start with you. How have you honestly failed?
bruh, it's crazy. I'll give a very quick scenario. I think with being present is the biggest thing for me as a leader, as an extrovert, as a person who loves people. I think being present has been my biggest failing as a leader. And not loving people in the moment, where they're at, is a struggle for me. And there's a time when I won't get too specific because it's personal for them, but I someone came to me for advice and I was distracted.
Mm-hmm.
And then they ended up doing something detrimental to themselves.
Mm.
And obviously, one can only think like if I had been present in that conversation, if I had put my phone down X, Y, and Z, or if I had focused on them and their need,
Mm.
what could have happened? You know what I mean? And not to put pressure on myself that's unnecessary, but I think I struggle with guilt, with, you know, not being present, and where does that put me now in a place in their life, right? And so ever since then I've been really trying to be intentional about how I'm present with people.
Mm.
Um, a lot of things I meet a lot of people, and one of the things I genuinely ask them their name. It's something that is really simple, but for me is really hard to know. Like, yo, what's your name, right? And then asking them questions about themselves. I think that's hard, and as a leader to do well, because I think a lot of leaders just talk to hear themselves talk, and that's
Mm-hmm.
honestly a weakness of mine.
Okay. I love the vulnerability. That's real. Otis?
So I'll take some of your points because I agree with them, and I have similar. It's almost like it's like an oxymoron, really. Like it's very hypocritical. Like being present for me is also a struggle because I can think so much in the future that I'm not present,
Mm.
or I think about the past and how I'm always thinking about something, so it's hard to be present with certain people. Patience,
Mm.
being patient with like children, for example, like why can't you just listen? Or um, people who like to bump their head, and it's like, bro, you don't have to do that.
Mm.
So being present, being patient, um, listening is like a forgotten skill. Um, really listening, not like hearing people, but like listening.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, it's like the things that would make you not a good leader
Mm-hmm.
is the things I struggle with. So
Mm.
it's like
Yeah.
that's why I say like it's not that I want to be a leader all the time,
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
but oftentimes who is going to stand up
Mm.
and be a leader? It's one of those things where you like who wants to go to eat or who wants to go out to eat, and you're like, okay, well, where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? And they all give you different places to go,
Mm-hmm.
and then you take them all into consideration. You're like, well, we don't have. That's not the most for our health,
It's
or
not the
like,
healthiest
Budget
yeah, it's
friendly,
not
option.
the
bro.
healthiest place, or it's not the most good for our
Bodies.
funds.
Yeah.
Okay.
Certain
Okay.
times,
Budget friendly
Okay.
is real, bro.
Yeah.
yeah. So it's
Okay.
like I hear you guys, but what's the best option? You guys have not given me a good option yet. So it's like, we're going here.
Mm.
And it's not that I wanted to say that. It's like you look around the room and no one is no one's making sense.
Okay. Okay. You're bringing me to something. Leaders also have to make tough decisions.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
Oh, and yapping.
what
I'm
you mean
very good at
yapping?
yapping.
You're
Like,
good at
Same,
yapping.
bro.
yeah, like he was saying, like sometimes I just like to hear myself talk.
Mm.
And as a leader, you shouldn't be talking all the time. You don't need to be talking the whole time as a
You know,
leader.
I find it interesting that you're saying this, like as you're saying this weakness of yours is like listening sometimes with people.
Mm.
But in the beginning of this episode, you were saying one of the best traits of being a leader is being able to let other people make their own decisions
Right.
and think
Yep.
it out for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm drawing from just how that all came full circle is that, sometimes the person that you are becoming, and if it's a leader for you, it's a leader for you, but the person that you are becoming, you're being tested with the things that you struggle with
Exactly.
or your weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just said verbatim, hey, I struggle with patience.
Mm-hmm. Apathy.
Apathy is
Mm.
real, bro.
Like, I don't want to lead these people. They're not worth it.
Explain apathy.
Apathy is just not caring.
Yeah.
You just get to a point where you just don't care.
Indifference.
And very indifference. Like
Nonchalant.
extreme indifference. Like I could care if this goes up. I could care if this goes left.
Yeah.
I could care if this goes inside out.
And that's especially dangerous, dude.
And it is very dangerous if you're a leader because, like I said, if you're not going to take the accountability within yourself, who's going to do it? No one's going to do it for you.
Yeah.
So if you're around people who struggle, like people who need you
Mm-hmm.
to like either not, I don't want to say hold their hand, but like just be present with them, like we were saying,
Mm-hmm.
you have to put that to the side. Like you have to be present enough to be like, they need me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can't be thinking about myself right now.
Okay, so here's the thing, guys. What keeps y'all going? I'm a toss that ball to Jesse. What keeps you going?
Like within leadership, like what keeps me
I
going?
mean, yeah, you can answer that within leadership, but you can also answer that in real life. I mean, just in everyday life, like you striving to work
Yeah.
towards the goals that you have. What keeps you going?
I think 100% without fail is God and his track record.
Mm.
I'd be remiss if I didn't say this in this podcast, but God has been too faithful to me to not have him be a reason why I keep going. Time in and time out, there's been times where I've failed tremendously, fumbled the bag, and God's been like, no, 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 it's not about you, it's about me and what I'm doing through you.
Mm-hmm.
And regardless of any situation, you can point at any point in my life, and I'll say God has done remarkable things. So without a doubt, God has really done. Has been something that has kept me going. Faith that He won't fail me,
Mm.
and I believe that leaders fight for purpose
Mm-hmm.
within themselves first, and then others. And it's such a bloody fight.
Mm.
It is such a bloody fight to fight for purpose within yourself when you feel purposeless.
Mm.
That's a word.
And I have been miserable as a Christian before.
Mm.
And one thing that has gotten me out of it, and newsflash, you can be a miserable Christian. You can be a miserable Christian. But what has gotten me out of it is Ephesians 2:11, 10 through 11. For we are his workmanship, created for works in which he's prepared in advance for us. So not only do I have a worker, a person who is above me, creating me for something good,
Mm-hmm.
but it's prepared already. So meaning he saved me not just for me to just be for myself.
Mm.
He set me free from sin, not just for me to go back to sin.
Mm-hmm.
He set me free to do the works he's prepared in advance for me to do. So now I have a purpose. Now I can't be lazy. You know what I mean? Now I can't just be apathetic. Now I actually have to lock in. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that keeps me going for sure.
That is amazing. Oh my gosh. Come on, y'all. Come
Clock-
on, Pastor. No,
Clock that
no,
T.
because no, but I like actually what you guys don't know about Jesse. What he told me before the podcast is that he is actually going to school for pastoral studies. You know, so come on, Pastor.
Right.
I
Okay.
gotta get the degree first, y'all. No, I'm playing. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't listen to that. That's not true.
Okay, that's what's up, Otis. What keeps you going,
Hey, I don't know how I could follow that up.
man?
Dog,
it-
man, stop
no,
it.
that
Stop
No,
it.
like honestly, like
That's-
that's so real. Like you can try other things, but like you said, like as a leader, you fight for purpose.
Mhm.
So if you have a purpose that's just solely in yourself, I mean, what happens on those days where you don't feel like a leader,
Hmm.
or you feel apathetic, or
Right.
you've given up? It's just a real thing. Like leaders give up too.
Yeah.
Mm.
So it's like, what do I do on those days where I'm not enough?
Hmm.
I mean, something else got to pour into me.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that main thing is the word, God.
Yeah.
Those affirmations that come from the Bible, like, greater is he
Yeah.
who is in me than he who is in the world. Or I'm called, I'm a chosen
Yeah.
generation. I'm a
Mhm.
chosen
Royal
priesthood,
priesthood,
royal
yeah.
priesthood,
Yeah, one thing that keeps me going. I recently went to a networking event in the Twin Cities, specifically in St. Paul for the Man Up Club, or on behalf of the Man Up Club. And one of the things that I heard was, maybe I'll butcher it, but it's this idea that you have to keep going, or you should keep going
Mm-hmm.
because of the people that you haven't even met yet.
Yeah.
There are people that you haven't even met yet that will benefit and receive blessings and goodness and just everything because of what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So keep going, y'all. Keep going. So, oh my gosh, I hate to end this episode about leadership because this has been so good. But you guys, this has been a conversation about leadership. And thanks to Odis and Jesse, we have just been chopping it up all about leadership. You have the power to be a leader.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody out there and everyone out there, okay? So continue to shine brightly. This has been the Man Up Club presents on Holy Culture Radio. You guys tune in with us for another episode.